Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Jazzy, the for Sasquatch here, and we are doing our Throwback Thursday. I went and saw a movie. That will be our beginning story time here. It was this an absolute disaster, and then I decided that I would go through the decades here, starting in 1970, and pick a movie each decade, like we do in horror movies every now and then, but with action movies this time. So we're gonna take a break from the Marvel cinematic stuff that we've been doing, and just go watch some straight up action thriller type movies that came out in the last 55 years, it looks like, with the date on the first one. We'll start with the movies and the box office report here. Box office report is Spider-Man makes more money in the second weekend than most movies make in the first two weekends, with 144 million total this weekend. Odyssey reigning in strong too with 31.7 million. Both of those are over $1 billion. Awesome time. Super Troopers 3 did 4 million, and it got 10 of my dollars for free pretty much, because I go to movies. This is our story time here. I go to movies every week, sometimes two times a week. Ran into all kinds of problems. None of them really movie theater oriented. To be fair to the movie theater, it's more with the people involved with the movies and the crowds. Usually, it's young kids. You kind of just kind of let that kind of slide. I remember being young and stupid, funny to yell out every now and then during a tense point. People, and it does kind of break tension, and probably the person doing it, needs a little break to himself, or a little feel up, pick up of a laugh of people. So he's doing it. We're all feeling together. A lot of times I go late at night, so I do avoid late on Sunday night. So I do get to avoid a lot of the riff raffs of Friday nights and Saturday nights. So this Sunday night at 10:50 p.m. at Davenport, Iowa, 53rd, for anyone who's watching this and will know these people, or maybe heard this story from their point of view. You're about to hear my point of view of everything, and I'm just gonna roast these people, because there's absolutely no reason in commons in decent society for anyone to act like this, and then when they get called out on it, to continue to play the victim and act like they did nothing wrong, and point out the fact that you did something by even saying anything, which was ridiculous. We started Super Troopers. It's going well. The lady immediately comes back from her food as the start of this movie, turns on her cell phone light to the brightest setting, has it open out and wide, so it's just a bright cell phone light. Everyone notices it. Some people kind of look back at her like, "What are you doing?" Um, she continues to have this on for the next 15 minutes while she's doing whatever she's doing in her seat, and this whole time, all three of these older ladies, older than me, I am almost 40. These ladies were older than me, probably drunk. I'm guessing drunk, intoxicated of some kind, wouldn't stop talking for 45 minutes straight. And not just that, like, when the movie would get louder, they would get louder, as if to say that the movie is cutting off their conversations from what they are doing. I finally turned over to them and I told them to shut the fuck up, please, as loud as I could. As you can remember, there's a movie going on. I want to make sure they can hear me, even though they're only like 8 seats over. They continued to talk for the next 5 minutes while getting up and walking down to, or I'm not even, not 5 minutes, like 2 minutes. It was a little bit though. It was like 2-3 minutes. They continue to talk throughout the scene, make a scene, while not only am I telling it, my friend that was with me telling it, and three other people are telling them that they're being rude and that they need to shut up, and that they just need to either like go away or just like find another spot in the theater where there's no one else and they can kind of be on their own. And they, to be fair, they did it, but by this point I was just like seeing red. So I was like, I'm out of here. Like, none of this is gonna end well, especially if we have to see these people at the end of the movie theater, at the end of the movies. Um, we're gonna say something and it's just not gonna go well. And plus, I can't even enjoy this movie at this point in time because I'm just so mad about everything. So I finally, so I get up, I leave the theater. I didn't see them leave, but two of them had left on their own, I guess, already, and we're out there trying to complain to their manager. I mean, there was another confrontation out there. I told the manager exactly what happened. I was like, these two ladies didn't shut the fuck up for 45 minutes. They accused me of being violent for using curse language. Probably shouldn't use a cursing language. Probably wrong. Again, I'm mad. I'm seeing red. I want to get the fuck out of there. So I just leave them as they're talking and leave. And that is the most insane scenario ever. Like, I've been in movie theaters and I've had to tell people to shut up before, and then they shut the fuck up, or people like applaud you, or someone else tells the other person to shut the fuck up, and then we applaud them because they're not shutting the fuck up, and then for them to immediately turn around and play like victim, like when she pointed out, she's like, "You laughed during the movie." I'm like, "I laughed during a fucking comedy. Of course, I laughed during a comedy. I didn't talk for 45 fucking minutes straight." So, I think that when you're choosing to go to a movie, the people you choose to go to a movie with probably important, because I'm sure that one or more of those ladies probably kind of had enough of the one lady, because it was mainly the blonde that was instigating everything. But at the same time, like, know it. Like, if you're one of those people that can't shut the fuck up, the movie at 10:50 is probably a good time to go. Not gonna lie, kudos for them, like trying to charge the right time. But you chose the seats and the groups of people, and I know that you chose them after me because I get to watch the movie. So I know that I chose my seat first. You could have chose your seats a little bit more accordingly, as well as when you're finally told to shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. Like, don't keep talking. So yeah, kind of ruined my whole time. I'm gonna go watch Super Troopers 3 again. There were funny parts. Like I said, they pointed out the fact that I was laughing, so we know there was funny parts. But that is what we'll do here. Um, and we'll go into start our ride in a decade. Sorry, like, I really, it's just like I can't fucking believe just the whole week has bothered me. I'm just glad I finally got to get it out to you guys. This the absolute rudeness of these ladies. We're gonna start here with Dirty Harry, directed by Don Siegel and Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, Andrew Robinson, and Harry Guardino. When a killer calling himself Scorpio menaces San Francisco, a tough as nails police inspector, Dirty Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to track down the crazed psychopath. It came out December 23rd, 1971, so a nice Christmas movie here. Had a budget of $4 million, had a gross $35 million, had like one of the most iconic lines in movies all time. Clint Eastwood being a badass, doing Clint Eastwood things. This is the premier Clint Eastwood badassery here from the '70s. We're actually gonna go through the rest of the series in the next couple of weeks while we're doing this. We're gonna start here though in 1971. Like the machismo here, I guess, is awesome. You don't really get high characters like this anymore, and just and like and that's just like the way people were back then too, like especially like manly men figures that they would hold against. I'm sure was, fucking Clint Eastwood was the guy. Like, yeah, that's the man. And you kind of see that like in the next generation here with this next movie with like Burt Reynolds, and goes down and longer until we finally get into like more softer area like Tom Hanks. But that is worth it. Is worth a watch. I mean, this is Dirty Harry. It's kind of like I believe like this. They kind of blended in the Scorpio story into it with San Francisco. They have like a couple action sequences that are pretty top of the line for back then, and a pretty good chase sequence. These movies is interesting because like I think movies today they try and fill in with lots of dialogue. Where this movies they kind of keep the cameras rolling, and as they're rolling, the people are participating in their regular day lives, and that's what we're kind of watching. So that's what we kind of get with this too. So it is like one of those authentic 1970s movies here. That is our first trip here, and that is Dirty Harry, directed by Don Siegel and Clint Eastwood. And I believe Clint Eastwood only got a director's credit because he only directed one scene too. I believe it noted on the IMDb specifically that. So that is interesting. The next one we're going to talk about here is Stick, directed by Burt Reynolds, starring Burt Reynolds, Candice Bergen, and George Segal. Released from prison, Stick meets up with a friend and joins him on a job delivering a bag. His friend gets killed in the setup. Stick gets away and is ready to forget all and see his daughter, but they won't forget. April 6, 1985, had a budget of 22, opening of 3, and a gross of 8. This movie's good. I mean, it's not like the most classic movie ever, but it's Burt Reynolds. There is kind of that weird kind of daughter son kind of thing that kind of Burt Reynolds does in a couple of his movies, especially in the '80s here. But it's just, I guess, weird looking into it, just kind of looking in today's eyes. But there is some like suspect language used. Um, Candace Bergen's in this. It's interesting to see her in a movie. I don't watch a lot of '80s movies, so seeing some of these characters is pretty cool. Burt Reynolds is like, the tough guy, awesome guy. I mean, he acted forever too, and from the direct this, I don't know if this is directorial debut. I should look that up because it is interesting. Like, it is all Burt Reynolds doing what Burt Reynolds would have been good at, especially with like all the movies that we've talked about with Burt Reynolds in it. So it is worth watching. That is Stick, directed by Burt Reynolds. Our third stop here from the '90s is Absolute Power, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, and Ed Harris. Career thief Luther Whitney witnesses a horrific crime involving U.S. President Alan Richmond. Dennis Haysbert's in this, Melora Hardin, and Richard Jenkins. Melora Hardin is the girl from The Office, so it's kind of the what's her face, Jan from The Office. Yeah, yeah. And this movie came out in 1997, February 14th, 1997. Had a budget of 50 million, opening of 14 and a gross of 50, so it made it together. It's Clint Eastwood movie. It's solid. I even recommended it to a buddy to watch who kind of likes these kind of thriller movies, and he enjoyed it. Clint Eastwood is going through a house as like a detective, or like, I think they said a thief here. He's robbing the house, and when he is in the middle of this, Gene Hackman pops up with Jan from The Office, and he attacks her and kills her. And he is the president of the United States, and now you have this guy who's a thief who witnessed it, and this whole story behind it, and going into it, and the investigation and stuff like this. Is an interesting 1990s movie. If you have not seen it, I do strongly suggest it, and that is Absolute Power, directed by Clint Eastwood. We're into 2000s here. The aughts. Spartan, directed by David Mamet, starring Val Kilmer, Derek Luke, and William H. Macy. The investigation into kidnapping of the daughter of a high-ranking U.S. government official. Uh, this is talking about child trafficking, like terrorist organizations going through child trafficking and how it kind of works. The countries involved, including Dubai and stuff like this that we're going to talk about today. So it's very, even today, it's very like on point. Had a budget of 19 million, had an opening of 4, and had a gross of 8. I chose this movie just because it had Val Kilmer in it. And I was like, I don't really watch a lot of Val Kilmer movies, so maybe see what this one is about. I enjoyed it. Kristen Bell pops up in this, like I said. She is the daughter. It's about child trafficking and them not knowing it is her, and then Val Kilmer, who's an elite investigator for the military police, getting involved and like kind of cracking this whole ring down. It's very good, very kind of poignant. Like I said, even for today, it kind of even rings strong. So I'm not really I suggest checking out because this is one I don't even remember hearing about or heard about or seeing ever. And I worked at a video store and look through these all the time as video store. Like, we're at a video store, and I don't remember ever seeing this. So, Spartan, directed by David Mamet. Uh huh. Okay, so this one we're pushing a little bit, but it is 2010s here. Super 8, directed by J.J. Abrams, starring Elle Fanning, A.J. Mejia, and Kyle Chandler. During the summer of 1979, a group of friends witness a train crash and investigate subsequent unexplained events in their small town. June 10th, 2011, had a budget of 50 million, opening at 34, and grossed at 260 million. One of J.J. Abrams' like huge hits. It's an original story. It's really cool. It kind of brings back all the nostalgia in here. We get a train crash in the middle of them trying to make a movie, and it kind of works out in their favor. And they use this as inspiration and change the movie, their story of the movie. It's interesting to see these kids that are just so involved with themselves that they don't even really kind of care or blink about what's going on around them. And I think that's a good kind of way to tell the story. It goes back to that 1970s way where we just kind of get back and kind of just see the characters move on and stuff like this and this. So I really do enjoy this movie. I'm glad I chose this movie, and I chose this movie like specifically because I knew it was going to be a good movie. It's on Amazon Prime, and I really just wasn't finding much stuff that I hadn't seen or that we just hadn't talked about a bunch on anything, or talked about a bunch action wise, and like that kind of went with like the conspiracy theories and the government stuff, like the other stuff did too. So that is why I chose this one, and that is Super 8, directed by J.J. Abrams. The last one we're going to talk about here is Guns Up, directed by Edward Drake, starring Kevin James, Christina Ricci, and Luis Guzman. On the brink of leaving the family, a mob henchman's final job goes off the rails with the clock ticking. The ex-cop has one night to get his unsuspecting family out of the city before he gets snuffed out. There's no money totals on this, but it came out May 15th, 2025. It's a Paramount Plus movie. Kevin James is an action star, kind of works here. Not gonna lie, Christina Ricci's good in this as well. She kind of plays a badass. The one surprise here is that Rusev is in this. I didn't know he was even in a movie. I don't. Rusev from WWE, Miro from EAW, whatever wrestling faction you watch. Um, he pops up in this as a mobster. Ed Harris is in this too, I believe. So that's like two movies that Ed Harris kind of like pops up on here randomly that we're watching. But it's kind of cool at the same time, like just seeing him through the decades. I mean, how a lot of work if he's working 30 years later. You know what I mean? This is a this is a good one. Like I said, the family dynamic kind of works with this. Kevin James as an action star kind of works lately, especially after that one movie the horror movie he plays in with the girl. I think it's Jamie or something like that. Christina Ricci, like I said, I think she's so versatile and like her kind of playing like a smaller kind of out of character here, but kind of like a smaller little badass girl kind of works here as well. It is worth the watch. I kept on trying to watch it and kept on trying to watch it, and I finally did. I'm glad I did. It was definitely worth a watch here. That is Guns Up, directed by Edward Drake. So we went through the decades, went through 50 years of movies here, with 5 different movies, pretty much all kind of related, a little bit of action, kind of thriller, getting a person through something or getting around or a government involved somehow too. Always kind of good there. Maybe next week we'll do comedies or no, maybe like love stories. Like I'm a little excited about love stories, but like just something different, like maybe a drama or something. Maybe just look up dramas and find something different here. Because we always kind of cover comedies and we kind of cover we've already done romance stuff. So yeah, maybe like a straight drama, like it's period pieces or something from each time period. But that was no, yeah, maybe not each year. Maybe we'll start it later because we have Marvel stuff that we're gonna get back to next week. But that is the plans here. And we went through the decades with horror movies too, starting in the 1970s. So that will be our horror movie night in the cave this week. I don't remember what movie I'm gonna go see this weekend, but I will be going to see a movie this weekend. That will be on our Throwback Thursday next week. And I believe that is all. So thank you guys very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and have a good rest of your day or night. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment your top movie picks for Throwback Thursday in the comment section. And see you next time in the cave.